roster? Who you talking to right now? What's your little black book got in it? So who's on your roster right now for streaming services?
So my starting five, right?
Starting five, yeah. What's the line? We will move on to one of our last stories here. So this was an interesting story that I saw. It was an article. It was an article from Los Angeles Times. It basically talked about this whole idea of like the streaming wars, right? And kind of what fucking streaming platforms are running into because of because of there being way more streaming services. That leaves the door open for more cancellations because sometimes some series pops up on a random fucking, on a random streaming service that you just literally need to get the one time to watch the series or movie or whatever the fuck it is, right? And then you cancel immediately because you're done with whatever the fucking thing is that you wanted to watch. So streaming platforms are running into that issue of like, hey, somebody, we come out with a new show or new or new movie, and then people rush out to like, subscribe to our services, and then immediately they cancel once that thing is over because they have no interest in the rest of our shit. So what the fuck did they do? So instead of boring you with all the fucking details and stats like that, we'll just fucking talk about that shit. Eventually I want to get to kind of what our rosters are of our streaming services, and what our sort of like ride or die services are, and why I think it's, this is why Netflix remains king of the hill. But let me hear what you think about that, Arain, about this concept of streaming services running into trouble because people rush out to go see some shit, and so they sign up for, God knows I did that with HBO Max, where I signed up for it, and then I immediately was like, I'm canceling that shit immediately. Once I have to fucking suffer through this stupid ass Wonder Woman 1984, I am done with this shit. I'm canceling, although I haven't canceled it yet, just as a as a side note. But
same, yeah.
But I will probably cancel it soon.
I think Fave signed up for HBO Max, and like if he hasn't yet, he better cancel that shit because it's just not worth it. Unless he wants it to be able to go back and watch like Game of Thrones again for like the fifth time.
Yeah, but that's on him. About shit like that. You know what I went back and watched recently is Batman, the animated series, which we'll actually talk about a story about that later on, or something related somewhat to that later on. But yeah, I've been they got some shit on there, but I don't think it's worth me paying like $10, $15 a month that I'm paying.
No, fuck that. So I got the perfect story, right? The other day I signed up for Hulu with the live TV streaming package, so I could watch the Rams versus the Seahawks game. I think it was, and it was $64 a month, but you got like 7 days free. The $64 package is with like ESPN and National Geographic and live TV, 7-day free trial. If you cancel before that 7th day, you won't be billed that $64.99. So I signed up for that shit, watched my game, canceled that shit right away. I'm not paying $64.99 just to stream live TV. No, I can steal that some other way. As a streaming service, like, you gotta give them enough reason to stay. I think only 2 streaming services, in my opinion, have given me and given most users enough reason to consistently stay. And that's by having good quality, original, and like premium content. That's Hulu and Netflix. So I again, I signed up for the Hulu thing and I canceled it, but I still kept like my another downgraded version of Hulu that I had, the one for like $12.99 a month. But that's through Disney Plus. So that comes with ESPN and Hulu. Like what streaming services are going to have to do now is like have a bundle that makes sense. Like, what is the additional offering? Like, what is the reason why I'm not going to cancel your shit right away?
Yeah, you see, I think that's where I have to disagree. I don't think really it's even about like bundling shit together. Although, like, the only way that I think that makes sense is not actually at the streaming services themselves, but it's in maybe like Sling or like Roku. That's where I think is like the real shit, because what I think they're going to have to do is partner, like find a deal that works with all these streaming platforms. The first place to do this, I guarantee you, will be the most successful. Maybe for a cool $30-$40 a month, you get literally Netflix, uh, Amazon Prime, Hulu, uh, Apple TV Plus, whatever the fuck is out there, right? Maybe you get some combination, like maybe you get up to 4 or 5 streaming platforms, right? For a cool $30 a month, right?
But that's not going to happen, because that's like asking 8 different companies to like partner with each other.
But eventually they're all going to have to do this, because eventually they're all going to get tired of people canceling their shit after watching, whatever season of the show that they put out, right? So eventually, honestly, it might actually make them more money in order to do that, right? That they might take less upfront, right? In terms of, but it'll be more consistent, right? Instead of starting and stopping with, with your streaming service based off of whatever content, because all that means is that literally every month they have to put out something new, or every week they have to put out something new in order to keep you there for that particular month. And that's just not, I don't think that's a feast, because for one, you're not always going to be interested in everything that they put out, right? That, look, I love the shit out of Netflix, but I cannot tell you that I've watched everything that there is to watch on Netflix, right? It might be like maybe once, twice a month that I really check something out, specifically on Netflix, but anyways, so that's kind of what leads me to saying that's why fucking, Netflix is fucking just sunning everybody else when it comes to the streaming game. Why? Because it's not about, I think coming out with new content or like that. What it is about is by being culturally relevant. That's what matters foremost in any of this, right? Is mattering culturally. Because once you matter culturally, it doesn't fucking matter what you come out with. Netflix has 95% of their content is utter trash. Okay, let's just say that dark secret out loud, right? 95% of what comes out on Netflix, you will literally never watch, because it's just not great, but the reason why you still have it is because Netflix and chill, right? Like it's that much a part of our, now Netflix and chill is pretty old by this point in time, but it's still fucking there, nonetheless.
No one's talking about it anymore, but they're still doing it.
Exactly. Nobody's using the fucking words Netflix and chill. But
and if you're Army Hammers, Netflix and chill while you're tied up.
Yeah, fair enough. No matter what you do, like, okay, so here's how pervasive Netflix is, right? I just told you that I wanted to like cancel HBO Max, right? If somebody said, hey, you could only keep, one subscription service. And I know HBO is coming out with whatever hot shit that they might be coming out with next month, right? But they said you could only have the one service. And I don't know anything about, what Netflix is putting out. I'm probably still sticking with Netflix, because it's like, my mind doesn't even go to canceling Netflix. That's how part of the fucking culture that they are. It's just like, no. We're definitely getting rid of HBO Max, because that's that new shit that is still a little bit unproven. I don't know what the fuck they got going on over there, but I know Netflix. Someone's going to find something on Netflix, right? Even if that's true or not, it doesn't matter. It's already programmed into my brain, because they were in it from the jump, right? They found a way to be culturally relevant. Back when nobody was talking about streaming shit, or I guess not nobody, but back when it wasn't like the fucking cool shit to do, back when fucking, Blu-rays were still a fucking thing, or just going out to the theaters was the only means of doing any of this shit. So I think that's what matters the most. A lot of these streaming services have to find a way to be culturally relevant. Find some in to people's minds of like why they can't live without your shit, and maybe that is somewhere in the content they put out, but it's not solely that. You got to find a way to to speak to people above just the content you're putting out, and I think that that's something that they have to do. But along with this segment, I wanted to do, what's your roster, man? What you working right now? It's like when you were talking back in school, you're like, hey, what's your roster? Who are you talking to right now? What's your what's your little black book got in it? So who's on your roster right now for streaming services?
So my starting 5, right?
Starting 5, yeah. What's the lineup?
Right, it's even crazy that I have 5. So Netflix is, that's home base, right? That's like whenever I don't know what to go to and I don't know what to watch where, I just go home to Netflix. After that, Disney Plus surprisingly has made like a huge push for me because of the bundle. Because with my Disney Plus, I also get ESPN and I get Hulu, right? So I don't even have to separate Hulu out. I get it within my Disney Plus bundle. But what do I use more? I use Hulu the most. I use Disney. I have a daughter, and she likes, all the different little Disney stuff on there. And then, occasionally, if I'm just like need some background noise, I'm on like ESPN while I'm doing some work, right? I recently got Stars because Stars has they were doing this promotion where it's $5 for 5 months, right? So if you look at that, it's $25 for 5 months of Stars. You get full access to all of their premium content, series, movies, whatever the fuck you want. That's a great fucking deal. I wonder what the pricing will be like after those 5 months are up. But if in those 5 months, if I like find that like their content is worth it, their shows are worth it, and there are a lot of new shows coming out on Stars in like I think in the next 5 months I'm going to want to watch. I may actually end up keeping it. Aside from that, I'm logged into my sister's Amazon Prime account. I don't really use that too much. And then I think I had another one recently that I canceled. Oh no, I've got Apple TV Plus, which is almost cancel time for that motherfucker. February 3rd. I got it marked on my calendar to cancel it February 2nd. I don't need that shit. I got it free for a year when I got my iPhone 11. So that shit's getting out of there.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you got?
Okay. My starting five, my lineup. Okay. Netflix, clearly, right? Like what are we gonna do? Cancel Netflix? No, can't do that. My next up from that is it will have to be Amazon Prime. I think they put out on the low, they pull out quality content, I think, on Amazon Prime, at times. I haven't watched all their stuff, and even sometimes I've checked out some stuff where I'm like, yeah, no, I could have missed that. But they do. I think they take selective shots that are pretty good shots, Then I'll go to Hulu. Because I think, again, every now and then they might put out something hot, but they're kind of like the stepchild to like everybody else, right? Like they don't really, it's kind of like they try to be something, but really they're really just about like, recasting old shit or shit, like if you don't have cable right now and you're wanting to watch something that happened on CBS, then Hulu's your place, right? I think my next up after that is Apple TV Plus. I think that they also are kind of like Amazon Prime, where they put out quality content on the low. You would never really fucking know it, if you checked out on the streets. But they're like the one girl in high school, right? That it's kind of like a she's all that situation where it's just like nobody really talks to her, but you're looking at her like, yo, hold on, if you.
And she's down for that here, CNC.
Yeah.
I gotta stop making these jokes.
Yeah.
I can immediately see you get uncomfortable.
I didn't even hear what he said. I'll be honest with you.
I was like, when you're talking about that girl from high school, you're like,
yeah.
Okay. What I said was like, and she's down for that CNC.
Jesus Christ. Well, we're getting a contract. We're signing it. Everybody knows what the fuck is going on. All right. If we must. But yeah, what was that? So I got Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Apple TV Plus. And I think maybe for my fifth, I don't know. Fuck it. I don't even like the fifth is like, that's your, instead of a
Roku TV.
That's a different thing. But instead of like, your sixth man, I think I'm just going to go with the fifth man, where the fifth is just interchangeable. I don't give a shit who goes in that last spot. So that's a toss up between HBO Max, which I'll get rid of probably sometime soon. Disney TV Plus. And it's no surprise to me that all of these are like kind of like the newer kids on the block, right? Although I guess Apple TV Plus is also a little newer, but yeah, that fifth spot is kind of in rotation depending on what my mood strikes. I will say that weirdly enough, I've had WWE Network for the longest time, only because I'm going through. I'm trying to just go through all like the 90s wrestling, and I've almost done that, but it's the second I feel like I've scratched that itch of the nostalgia. I think I might even ask for my money back. I might be that bold as to be like, you motherfuckers, you guys owe me because this shit was not worth the fucking $9.99 that I'm paying for this shit.
Who the fuck has the WWF network? It's like me,
Hulk Hogan. I literally just told you that.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. He's not. No, he was in the movie The Wrestler. He was not in. Never mind.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
That was the joke.
Yeah, fair enough.
Way to ruin it.
Terrible joke.
That was a
go
great
work that
joke.
out. Go to the Comedy Store a few nights.
Listen,
go test out different version of that.
The person who knew that Mickey Rourke was the actor in the movie called The Wrestler was like, "Wow, great joke! You just ruined it for everybody." Thanks.
It was a terrible joke.
But so here's where the big change is coming, right? Because we know that Apple just announced Apple One, is it, or Apple TV One, or Apple,
whatever their stupid package.
Yeah, whatever the fuck they're gonna call it. And I think they're gonna be at like $14.99 a month. You're gonna get like Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, and then Apple Arcade. When that drops, I mean, that's a huge reason to get Apple, right? Because we know they got a lot of money, got a lot of original content coming. You get Apple Music and this arcade shit for the kids.
I think if you're already into Apple shit, maybe, but if you're not, they're really only speaking to really like Apple customers. They're kind of throwing just Apple customers a bone, like, all right, here we go. All right, we'll help you guys out a little bit, you know. But like for people who they're not really like bringing other people into the fold. Again, if they partner with some other shit and they're like, all right, for like 10, like and I said this before. Now I'm realizing, oh shit, somebody's already done that. Although they kind of own everything in their network, but Disney did that with Disney TV Plus, Hulu, and ESPN, right? So they have this like bundle of like different shit. Like, don't just give me a bundle like Apple's weird because it's like Apple Music, Apple TV, and then whatever the fuck else they're throwing in the bag. But it's like that's all just different shit. Like I don't know. Like I'm talking about shit you could watch, right? So if you give me like, okay, Apple TV Plus and Netflix for like $10.99 a month. Boom, you guys got me for life, you know. We're good with that, you know. And so I think when they start doing shit like that is when we're really going to start to see people stick with these streaming services, because otherwise it's just going to be forever be this game of like, are you putting out new shit? No, all right, you're getting canceled. You know,
here's how I think like Apple could really like own the game, right, and like really just destroy everybody else. If Apple were to partner with Chipotle, right, so I could get. So if I have Apple One, right, I could get double meat at no additional charge on my burrito or on my burrito bowl, but I have to cancel Netflix, Disney Plus, and all of that. I would do it. I would 100%. Listen,
well, you do it for that night or for that meal.
No, listen, I'm gonna be eating Chipotle for the rest of my life. Okay, I know that now. So if you're gonna give me double meat at no additional charge, but I got to cancel all that other shit, I'm just going to watch whatever's on Apple TV and start reading books. Okay?
Sure.
Going back to basics. Because that double meat and free guac,
yeah,
let's get it.
Yeah, you're definitely not reading any books for that matter. But
you doubt me.
But interesting enough, somebody's actually already doing this. I think it was like fucking either Papa John's or Domino's Pizza Hut, one of those places that was like, oh, like if you sign up for our shit, you get like a month free of like, or you get like a discount on like some whack ass streaming service that nobody wants to actually partake in.
Quibi.
But yeah, it was probably, no, Quibi's like fucking.
It was around the time
it doesn't exist anymore. Or
I think that happened around that time. Remember the old Papa John's CEO, like John Schaffner, right? I think it was on that conference call. So remember the old Papa John's CEO? He got in trouble on that conference call.
Yeah, did they introduce it?
They partnered with Quibi, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this thing with Quibi where you get free pizza, but like no black people."
Yeah. and by the way, you niggas aren't allowed in my house.
Yeah.
Like, this is one night in Miami.
And then they were like, yeah, we got to pull all your commercials. You got to step down as CEO, guy.
Okay. We had one more story on the docket, but fuck it. Look, I think we